everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cooking with Lily and Generoso. So this week is my week, and today we're going to make Che Xoi Nuoc, which is essentially this delicious brown caramel syrup that has ginger in it with large, kind of like mochi balls that have like mung bean in them or just like the rice flour itself. So it's almost like a giant kind of tapioca-ish dessert. It's really delicious, and it has coconut milk on top. So it's a little bit of an extensive recipe in some ways, and that there are just a lot of different moving parts, but the overall process is not that hard itself. So let's look at the ingredients. There are a lot. So we have a lot of utensils in this one as well. So in terms of the mung bean filling, we have 3 green onions, we have a red onion. We're only really going to use probably a third of that. We have a big hunk of ginger. We have some mung beans that have been soaking for a couple of hours in warm water. We have that bag of mung beans, that's where those came from. We have some dark brown sugar. We have some rice flour. This is Korean rice flour. If you can find the rice flour for Thai sweet rice, that's also really, really great. It's actually what I prefer, but we live in Koreatown, so it's a little harder to find. Outside of that, we have coconut milk. We have sea salt. We have some extra virgin olive oil. We have some cinnamon, some toasted sesame seeds. I know that's Jean's favorite. Some black pepper. And we have 3 pans. And let me say that this pan planning should be done in advance because this is a little bit of a complex dish. So this big guy is going to be for our caramel ginger sauce. This little guy is filled with water, and it's going to be for actually boiling our little dumplings. And then this pan is going to be used to boil our mung beans and soften them. So let's get started on the mung bean part, and I will see you very soon. So we've heated up the pan for the mung beans. I'm just putting a little bit of oil down on the bottom because the last time I boiled mung beans, I ruined a pan for like 3 months. It stuck to it. I'm going to grab some handy dandy chopsticks. And then I'm going to take my mung beans, which have been soaking, just pour them into the pan. This is about a cup of mung bean. So essentially you want the water to come to a boil, and you want to cook this for probably about 20 to 25 minutes until the mung beans soften. Alrighty, so the flame is on a nice high, and while the mung beans are cooking, you should stir aggressively because, again, last time I did this, I ruined a pan because the mung beans stuck to the pan and just kind of burned up. So you want to make sure you stir very aggressively all throughout the 20 to 25 minutes. So we'll keep an eye on these, and we'll see. So our mung bean is cooked down into a nice paste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add about 4 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, and 4 of coconut milk. I'm going to take our hand mixer, and then I'm just going to very gently give it a little bit of a blend. You want the coconut milk to mix up nicely within all the mung bean, and you want the mung bean to finally break down. Alright, so that the coconut milk is nicely incorporated and the mung bean is all mixed through. So now we are going to quickly clean our pan, and then we're going to fry up the rest of the filling for the mung bean. Now we're letting our mung beans cool off and kind of harden up as well, and we're going to warm the pan back up. It's now been cleaned and ridden of the mung bean residue.
Mung bean residue.
I coat the bottom of this generously in some olive oil. And through the magic of movies and time forwarding, I've already very finely sliced up my green onion and my red onion. We're just going to give those a quick fry.
Pretty colors.
They are. They always smell really nice. this point in time, we want to add some pepper. Probably about a third of a tablespoon. We'll add a little bit more to the mung bean itself. So with Che Xoi Nuoc, the mung bean inside can be sweet or salty. I tend to like it on a little bit more on the salty side. And right after this, we're going to add a tiny bit of salt. Sea salt in this case. Probably again about a third of a teaspoon. And there is one optional ingredient that is a totally acquired taste kind of thing. I'm not going to put it in for this recipe, but you probably could put actually a couple of drops of fish sauce in the onion just to kind of blend against the sweetness of the caramel. So I'm going to keep on frying this up, and then we're going to put it into our mung bean. So we'll see you very shortly. So I've put my fried onion mix into the bowl with the mung bean paste. I forgot, we're going to need some straight up cane sugar. And at this point, I'm going to measure about a tablespoon of cane sugar into the mung bean. And now we're also going to add extra salt too. Probably about a teaspoon of salt. Dunk. And then now we're going to make this super peppery. Probably put about 2 teaspoons of pepper into this. And that's what will make the mung bean extra special. Alright, we'll take my chopsticks out. I'm going to use my little whisk that has an egg on the end of it.
A bovine egg.
And just whisk it all together. Want to make sure to give it an extra couple of turns just that we mix up all the sugar and the salt correctly. And then what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to take this bowl and I'm going to put this in the freezer to let the mung bean harden up, because we want to roll it into a bunch of little balls. So we want it to be nice and tight. Alrighty, and so now I'm going to just clean up a couple pans, and then we're going to make the ginger syrup. And we'll see. Now it's time to make the syrup. So I've measured out 6 cups of water. I'm going to turn this stove on. I'll put this at about a medium heat. So I've measured out 1.5 cups of brown sugar. This is again 1.5 cups of dark brown sugar. I want to get all of it in there. Delicious. So I've only put in 1.5 cups at this time because it's one of those that, like, I personally don't love desserts that are like too sweet. That's just a personal preference of mine. So you're welcome to add more to taste, of course. So with the brown sugar in there now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these big chunks of ginger. I've cut them into strips. And this was about like an inch piece of ginger, and I'm going to put them on the bottom. These are the pieces that we're actually going to fish out before we serve this. And I have my favorite tool, the mandolin. And I'm just going to grate a little bit of ginger, just in very, very finely, to be included as well.
Are you going to fish that out too?
No, the grating I'm actually going to keep on in the pan. Just a little bit, because I think it adds a nice bit of flavor to all of this. And with ginger, when you scrape it, it is a naturally pretty stringy, what is it? A root, right?
It's a root, yeah.
It's a pretty stringy root, so you're going to have to just basically clean off the blade when you're done. But that's fine. One easy way to get less kind of caught up in the blade itself is if you actually go against the ginger string kind of grain. So I'll keep on grating this. It's probably about enough, actually.
Good.
You only want a tiny bit because you already have those big chunks that are in there. And then with that being said, we also want a tiny bit of cinnamon. Probably a couple of shakes from this dispenser. So let's say maybe like 1/3 of a teaspoon. Boop. We'll take our handy dandy chopsticks and just give this a quick stir.
Thanks.
And I'm going to put the cover back on this and let it cook on medium heat for about 20 to 30 minutes while we prepare our dough. So I will see you very, very soon. Okay, everybody. So I've measured out about 1/3 of my bag. So essentially I wanted 16 ounces of rice flour. This bag has 48 ounces.
Yes, that's 1/3.
Yes. So I'm now going to take some warm water and I'm going to add 1 cup and then about 1/3 of a cup. So if you're wondering why I'm being very sparing with the water, you don't want the dough to be too wet. So we want to mix the water in and then just knead the dough. And you can always add more water as necessary. Remember, that's one of the better things about dough making as a rule of thumb. You always want to make sure that you don't have too much water, 'cause you can add water, you can't take it away. You can add more flour, of course, if it gets too wet. So in this case, this is a little bit dry, so I'm probably going to add a tiny bit more water. I grab my cup, and Generoso helps me through the magic of TV.
It is. How much would you like, Lily?
Probably about another 1/3. Perfect. Beautiful. And want to take that and knead that in. Knead.
Knead.
Ooh.
That's why we wear aprons.
Why? Yes, because I am a disaster.
No one.
So I'm going to keep on kneading this, and then I will show you what the dough looks like after some patient kneading. See you soon. So our dough is kneaded. Knead.
Knead.
So what's important in Che Xoi Nuoc is basically the fact that you'll have some dumplings that have the mung bean within it, and then some that are just dough. When I was a little kid, I used to actually just fish out the ones that were dough, and then I never ate the mung bean part. So to make the ones that are just dough, just get a tiny bit of the rice flour mix, roll it into a little ball, and put it on your finished plate. Dunk. And throughout this process, if you need to add a little bit of rice flour to your hands so that they don't stick so much, go ahead and do that. I'm doing that now. And I'm going to make another little baby one. And then put it on the plate. They look like little mozzarella balls. Now I'm going to make one with actual mung bean in it. And those are generally a lot bigger. So you want to grab probably, what is that? Like a half a palmful?
About that.
You want to roll it into a flat panel. Almost like a little pizza. Little pee-pee pizza.
This is a Vietnamese household, by the way.
I'm going to take a spoonful of the mung bean paste that I've taken out of the freezer at this point. It's a little baby bit in there. And you want to fold up the edges. Dunk, 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 dunk. And then just very gently roll it all together. It's okay. If you see that splits, that's okay. You just add a little bit of dough on. Very gently roll it. It might be a little misshapen for a bit. That's okay. Again, this is all done by hand, so we're not making this in a machine.
No,
it doesn't need to be perfect.
Same with meatballs, kiddo.
Keep on rolling it into a nice ball. Again, if you see the skin break a little bit, just add a little bit of dough back onto it and roll it on in. Right? And so I'm going to keep on making more of these dumplings with the mung beans, and we'll see you very shortly when we're ready to boil. So we finished rolling all of our dumplings, and I have this little pan that is nice and boiling. And all we're going to do is going to plop them in. 1, 2, 3. And I'll plop in one big boy. Drop in a couple more little guys too. And these will be ready when they start floating up. And the moment that they finish boiling and cooking, what you're going to do is you're just going to drop them straight in our beautiful sugar mix.
Is it still cooking?
Nope, the heat has been shut off on that one. So I will show you what it looks like once we drop it into the sugar mix once these are ready. See you soon. So our little pearls are starting to float to the top, so I'm just going to take my slatted spoon, put them in here, into my other little silicone colander. The big boy is still in there cooking. And then I'm just going to give it a quick rinse under cold water to stop the cooking process. Give it a little shake. Shake, 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 shake. And then we're going to put it into our caramel. And now we're just going to repeat again. So put some fresh little balls in there. Probably put one big one in there as well. We'll let it cook until it surfaces. And again, it's the texture should be exactly like mochi, so it should be a little bit chewy and soft. And then with that as well, we have on the back stove the rest of the coconut milk, which I'm going to turn the heat on. If it turned on, there it is. And I'm going to put it right on medium heat and just let that warm up and start to reduce. I'll add sugar very shortly to it, and I'll see you soon. So our coconut milk is starting to fizzle, and at this point in time I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of sugar. 1, 2. And then about 1/4 teaspoon of salt, so a couple of shakes. And we're just going to stir that up. And the point of this coconut reduction is going to be to top the dumplings and the syrup off with at the very end on top of some sesame seeds. So this is a very sumptuous dessert. Just going to mix in all of that sugar and all of that salt and leave the flame on this on low. And that's just going to hang and chill until we finish boiling all of our dumplings. So all of our dumplings have been cooked and they are have been put in the syrup. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to take one big dumpling, put it in the bowl with a little bit of syrup, and then get a couple of the small ones. Alrighty, and then after that, I've put my coconut milk into a container. So I'm just going to take our coconut milk and put it on top of the dumplings. I always put a lot on the big one. And then after that, take some sesame seed. This is already toasted. Just sprinkle on top. And that's it. You have Che Xoi Nuoc. Enjoy!